This is Miss Morell with your recap of 7th grade science instruction for Monday and Tuesday, um, October 26th and 27th. Hope you guys all had an awesome weekend and are looking forward to Halloween and enjoying Red Ribbon Week. As I mentioned in the last recap, we've just about cruised through all of our learning targets. So today we're going to start doing something that's not really in the learning targets, but is really important nonetheless. So as always, here is a video recap of the previous day's classes. We completed our warm-up questions. They're linked here. We quickly reviewed the photosynthesis equation, and then we watched a brain pop on cellular respiration. So if you'll remember, photosynthesis is the process that combines carbon dioxide from the atmosphere with water from the soil. The carbon dioxide enters the leaf of a plant through the stomata and goes into the chloroplast, and the water enters the plant through the roots from the soil. Once there are carbon dioxide and water in the chloroplast and the plant receives radiant energy in the form of sunlight, then the process of photosynthesis begins, and the chemical bonds that make up the carbon dioxide and water molecules use the energy from radiant energy to break apart those bonds and rearrange all of those molecules and form glucose and oxygen. Glucose is a large molecule, so it stores lots of chemical energy in its bonds, and that's what a plant needs to prepare for the process of cellular respiration. And then that glucose is stored in the chloroplast until it diffuses into the mitochondria and then is used for cellular respiration. The oxygen that's produced is given off by the plant out of the stomata and out into the atmosphere, which is awesome because that's what we need to carry out cellular respiration in our cells. So at this point, we've maybe got some glucose moving from a chloroplast to a mitochondria. And once it's in the mitochondria, a really cool thing happens. The oxygen that was produced by photosynthesis or that we breathe combines with that glucose in the mitochondria and rearranges it and produces ATP energy. And we've talked a lot about ATP energy. ATP energy is kind of like Bitcoin for a cell. So we talked about how maybe a Russian ruble, which is currency in Russia, is really, really hard to use outside of Russia unless you convert it to some sort of currency that everyone can take. Well, that's kind of how glucose is. A mitochondria can use glucose, but no other organism, no other organelles can use glucose. So the mitochondria needs to convert it into a form of energy that all the organelles in the cell can use, and that energy is ATP energy, just like a person trying to spend a Russian ruble in the United States would have to go to a bank and convert it to a dollar or to Bitcoin so that they could spend it outside of Russia. So glucose is converted to ATP energy in the process of cellular respiration. And what's really interesting about this is once that glucose combines with that oxygen and ATP energy is released, the products of cellular respiration are carbon dioxide and water, which are the exact products that photosynthesis needs as reactants. So it's really interesting, and hopefully you remember the comparison that we did today in class of comparing photosynthesis and cellular respiration. They are opposite reactions. They are two halves of a whole cycle called the oxygen cycle. So be sure, if you haven't, to go back and watch the appropriate video for your class that makes this comparison really obviously, so that you can see how those two reactions fit together to create a whole cycle. And then we also completed a learning check over cellular respiration. And then for independent work, I've asked you to read about diffusion because we're going to model and talk about diffusion in our next class, and then prepare for our upcoming tests that will be on Monday and Tuesday, November 2nd and 3rd. I think that's the 2nd and 3rd. Yes, November 2nd and 3rd. All right, you guys, hope this gets you where you need to be. Have a great day.